Good afternoon / evening, early evening, late afternoon, depending on where you are, everyone. It is Steve Lookner with Right Side Broadcasting, coming to you with some breaking news coming out over the last hour or two in Saudi Arabia. There have been mass arrests in Saudi Arabia by I guess you could say the government, it is a monarchy there, of 10 princes we've heard reported and 30 or more ex-ministers, some very prominent people in business circles and political circles in Saudi Arabia have been arrested for corruption charges. And there's a lot of speculation on what exactly is going on there in Saudi Arabia. Is this part of some larger thing that's happening there? So we're going to try to just get you updated information on this and see what's going on out there. And if you have comments, you can write in on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me just show you, though, some of the stuff I had been seeing on social media lately. So News Executive posted a bunch of things about this. I think this is a good place to start. So 3 hours ago, News Executive posted Saudi royal decree relieves ministers of state and economy and planning, chief of National Guard, commander of the naval forces. So that's not just even, now I don't know, they might be current princes now. So they relieved, these people are current ministers of state for ministers of state for economy and planning, chief of National Guard, commander of the naval forces. They were all relieved. Let's see if they were arrested, though. I'm not sure if they were arrested. They were relieved. An hour ago, News Executive posted reports in Saudi Arabia on some princes and former ministers under arrest on corruption charges. Interesting developments. Then there's some big names listed here. I'm not familiar with these people for the most part. Waleed bin Talal, I've read a little bit about. We'll talk about him in a moment. He's the one whose picture is on the thumbnail for the video. So list some big names there. News Executive also says, in total, 10 princes and dozens of former ministers and business leaders detained in Saudi anti-corruption probe. And this I thought was particularly interesting here. According to News Executive says he thinks, or they think, or she thinks there are two options for the arrest: to consolidate the position of Crown Prince Mohammed, who is the heir to the throne there. He's the most important minister below the king. He's the son of the king, Mohammed bin Salman, known as MBS, or two, a possible coup attempt. And then this says here, this is from News Executive. I want to show you this tweet as well from News Executive. News Executive said, I wouldn't be surprised if King Salman will abdicate and appoint Crown Prince MBS, also known as MBS, Mohammed bin Salman, as his successor. So it just seems like if they're arresting all of these princes in the royal family and all of these prominent people there on anti-corruption charges, and also they've deposed some ministers tonight, it seems like there's got to be something larger going on here. It sounds like the kind of thing you would do if you were trying to take more control of the government in some sense, but I don't really have a good grasp on what's going on there. So we're just going to try to get you more news and more updates about this. But if you hear anything about it, feel free, or have any opinions, write in on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me show you a little bit about, this was a post by somebody, and I can't, I don't know how reputable they are, but I wanted to read it to you anyway. Somebody named the Angry Arab News Service, and there's a post from them that says, let me read you the post here. And again, I can't vouch for this post, but I thought it was interesting. It says, a busy day in Saudi Arabia, not only the resignation of Saad Hariri, but Prince Mit'ib bin Abdullah has been removed from the National Guard. This is the first time that the National Guard is not in the hand of Abdullah or his son. That puts all the apparatus of the military intelligence network in the hands of MBS, who's the crown prince, who we just talked about, son of the king. News that Al-Waleed bin Talal has been arrested and accused of money laundering. We'll talk about him more in a second. Now, he says this could be a service to Trump, who hates Al-Waleed. The two fought it out on Twitter during the campaign, although Al-Waleed tried to reconcile with Trump after his election, but to no avail. So I can't speak to that. But I want to say a little more about Waleed bin Talal. He was one of the people arrested. So this is Waleed bin Talal. His picture's right there, but I'm going to show you the Wikipedia page for him. Saudi businessman, investor. I think he's a big investor in Twitter. Let me see if I can ascertain that. His net worth is 17.1 billion. He is Citigroup's largest individual shareholder, the second largest shareholder in 21st Century Fox, owns Paris Seasons 4 Hotel, George V. I want to see something about Twitter here. Does it mention Twitter here? Let's see. Let me Google it. Waleed bin Talal Twitter. Now this story from October 2015, I don't know if this is still true, says Saudi Prince Waleed bin Talal owns more of Twitter than Jack Dorsey does. It says he invested, this is from 2015, it says he invested 300 million in the social network. This was as of 2015. His stake in the company is larger as of 2015 than Jack Dorsey, Twitter's co-founder and newly reminted CEO. So very important international investor, Waleed bin Talal. He was arrested tonight. We heard on corruption charges, perhaps money laundering was the charge. I haven't heard that confirmed yet. But is there some larger thing going on with all of these arrests of princes and ministers and ex-ministers in Saudi Arabia tonight? What is going on there? It's a big question. We're trying to find out more news about it for you here. Rudao English is also reporting on this. They're saying Saudi Arabia issues mass arrests of senior princes, including billionaire Waleed bin Talal. Initial reports indicate that at least 10 current and former ministers arrested. Current and former ministers. So is someone trying to make a power play there? We heard some speculation it could be a power play perhaps by MBS, who is the crown prince there, who's the heir to the throne. See if I can get you any other updates on this. So Joyce Karam posted about this. She said, add 4 current ministers to arrest. Also, private aviation runways closed. This is very interesting from Joyce Karam. She says, 4 current ministers arrested. Saudi private aviation runways are closed. Private aviation runways are closed. No way out, and 4 current ministers are arrested. Wow. Now, interestingly, earlier today, there was this missile that was fired from Yemen, from Houthi rebels in Yemen at Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia defenses shot the missile down. I don't know if that's related to this at all. On the face of it, this would seem to be the kind of thing that you wouldn't just plan in 2 hours. I mean, the missile attack was like 4 or 5 hours ago, and this started happening 3 hours ago. So, I have a hard time believing that this was all planned after the missile attack, but the foiled missile attack. But this would seem to require some planning, with all of these people arrested, all these powerful people, and it just makes you wonder what is going on there in Saudi Arabia right now. Here's another post from Joyce Karam. She says, former Saudi finance minister Ibrahim Asaf among those arrested, well known in U.S. He's the former finance minister of Saudi Arabia. So I'm just trying to find a little more information on this. It's hard to come by what exactly is going on there in Saudi Arabia tonight with all of these arrests. Just trying to figure out what's going on. If you have any comments about this or you hear anything new, give me a shout on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. Let me look around a little bit, see if I can find anything more here. It's the kind of thing, it's like huge news, and I don't know if is the mainstream media reporting on this? Well, CNBC sent out a tweet about it, but if I turn it on, let me see, if I turn on the TV right now, which I'm going to do, and I'm going to check the mainstream media, I'm guessing they're not reporting on it. hey, if my TV would actually come on and work. There we go. So let me see if they're covering this. Well, I'm having some issues here. So I'm going to wait until my remote control actually starts working. I'll have to fix this later. I don't know why that's not working. Anyways, I apologize. I was going to do a quick check and see. But CNBC did have a story up about it. Let's see what they have about it. Very short story. They published the AP story, which is about 4 paragraphs long, and it says Saudi Arabia ousts ministers, arrests princes and former officials in anti-corruption sting. Now they say it's anti-corruption, and maybe it is anti-corruption. Maybe it's generally anti-corruption. But when something like this happens, it makes you think, is something else going on there, some kind of power play of some sort. Saudi Arabia's King Salman has removed a prominent prince who headed the National Guard. The head of the National Guard replaced the economy minister and announced the creation of a new anti-corruption committee. So the head of the National Guard and the economy minister have both been replaced. The Saudi-owned Al Arabiya news channel also reported late Saturday that dozens of princes and former ministers were detained in a new anti-corruption probe headed by the kingdom's powerful Crown Prince MBS Mohammed Salman. No further details were immediately given. The king ousted one of the country's highest level royals from power, relieving Prince Miteb bin Abdullah of his post as head of the National Guard. Prince Miteb was once considered a contender for the throne. I think it was last year that the king of Saudi Arabia installed his son as the heir. His son MBS as the heir. I believe he has a number of sons, but his son MBS was installed as the heir when he wasn't thought to be the heir before, and that move did raise some controversy. So it's pretty recent that MBS, the son of the king, was chosen to be the heir of the throne in Saudi Arabia and to get all of this power, this new power. So MBS is he's the one behind a lot of these recent initiatives in Saudi Arabia where they're trying to move into a more of a non-oil economy. They're allowing women to drive. He's seen a lot of the social reforms. He's seen as leading that movement, and he's gained a lot of power over the last year. And I wonder if arresting these people has anything to do with that. The monarch also replaced Minister of Economy and Planning Adel Fakea with his deputy Mohammed Al-Tuwaijri, I guess it is. All right, give me 1 second here. Let me try one more thing. There we go. I think this is working. So I'm just doing a quick check to see if I'm going to see if the mainstream media is covering this, because I'm interested in seeing if they are. But we're just trying to figure out what's going on. It seems to me something must be going on there. Now maybe it's just genuinely, hey, let's have an anti-corruption thing. But when you arrest all of these prominent people and remove ministers and stuff, it seems like something larger might be going on there, which we're trying to find out something about. This person is saying, Asad Abu Khalil is saying that Al-Waleed bin Talal, who big shareholder in Twitter we saw, in Citigroup, around 18 billion of worth, he was arrested and accused of money laundering. Zero Hedge reports. I wonder what Zero Hedge says about this. So I don't see CNN covering this. Let's see. No, CNN's covering Trump. I'm not surprised. MSNBC is covering politics. They're talking about Russian hacking, John Podesta, politics. So I'm guessing you won't see much coverage just in the mainstream media, but we're covering it because we think it's really important. So this is from Zero Hedge. I want to see what Zero Hedge's article says about this. It says, in shocking purge, Saudi king arrests billionaire Prince bin Talal, dozens of others in cabinet crackdown. It says Zero Hedge says, in a shocking development, Saudi Prince Al-Mayadeen reported late on Saturday that prominent billionaire member of the royal Saudi family, and one of the biggest shareholders of City News Corp, and Twitter, not to mention frequent CNBC guest Al-Waleed bin Talal, along with 11 senior princes and over 30 ministers, has been arrested for corruption and money laundering charges on orders from the new anti-corruption committee headed by Crown Prince MBS. So it seems like this anti-corruption movement, well, the king, I would think, has to agree to it, but who knows, maybe it's really being speared by MBS or MBS and his father, the king. Among those fired and or arrested are the head of the National Royal Guards, Mohammed bin Abdullah, the Minister of Economy and Planning, Adel Fakea, and I'm sorry I'm pronouncing those wrong, I'm sure, and Admiral Abdullah bin Sultan bin Mohammed Al Sultan, the commander of the Saudi Naval Forces. It says Al-Waleed bin Talal is perhaps best known not only for his periodic CNBC appearances, but for his recurring on and off spats with President Trump. There's a tweet from December 11th when he says, "You are a disgrace not only to the GOP, but to all America. Withdraw from the U.S. presidential race as you will never win." Continuing here with this Zero Hedge article, let's see what else it says. As Bloomberg notes, changing the head of the National Guard, an institution that's been controlled by the clan of the late King Abdullah, is not like changing the Minister of Oil. I wouldn't be surprised if this leads to greater fissures within the royal family. So it could be some family politics going on here. I'm going to see if I can find any more interesting details here to give you. Not that all of it's not interesting, but what else does it say here? King Salman also issued a decree forming an anti-corruption committee headed by the Crown Prince. Its powers include the ability to trace funds and assets and prevent their transfer or liquidation on behalf of individuals or entities, along with the right to take any precautionary actions until cases are referred to the relevant investigatory or judiciary authorities, according to a government statement. Wow. Putting the arrest in context, the heads of the main 3 Saudi-owned TV networks were arrested. Check this out. I didn't know that. The heads of the main 3 Saudi-owned TV networks were all arrested. Definitely suggests something is up. Something is up there. Let's see what else is in this article here from Zero Hedge. As we already saw this, he mentions, as we already read that. As the Angry Arab blog, the removal of Prince Mohammed bin Abdullah as head of the National Guard means that this is the first time that the National Guard is not in the hands of Abdullah or his son. We already read that part from that other site. Yeah, and it's been a very weird news day. I didn't even talk about Trump urges the Saudi national oil company Aramco to do their IPO on the New York Stock Exchange. Then Lebanon, I didn't even know the Lebanese prime minister resigned. I had no idea that happened. I'll have to look up about that. Saudis intercept missile, we talked about that. Major cabinet shuffle, 3 Saudi princes who run the anti-graft committee were arrested for money laundering, and a total of 11 princes and 30 ministers arrested on corruption. So a lot going on today there. Just trying to get a better idea on why all these arrests might have happened. I mean, were they just for anti-corruption, or is there some other kind of political thing going on there? Oh, and here's a post that President Trump made in response to Al-Waleed Talal, who was arrested today. This is from 2015 when they were feuding on Twitter. Let's see. He said, "Dopey Prince Al-Waleed Talal wants to control our U.S. politicians with daddy's money. Can't do it when I get elected." He was arrested today, Al-Waleed Talal. This person is named Ali Shihabi, executive director of the Arabia Foundation, he says, Saudi arrests remind me of Dubai MBR's purge of corrupt officials across his government in 2008, 2009. It sent a powerful message and cleaned house. You're watching Right Side Broadcasting. We are covering these mass arrests of princes, current and ex-ministers, and also dismissal of several current ministers in Saudi Arabia, trying to figure out what it all means. If you have comments on this, write to us on Twitter. Write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. I'm going to get to your comments in a moment. Also, if you enjoy our coverage, if you like that we're covering this story and giving it some coverage, please consider donating, because we are a viewer-supported network. Your donations keep us on the air. So if you'd like us to stay on the air, you can donate by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat and clicking on the little dollar sign at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And to know when we're coming on the air with these breaking news videos, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell when you subscribe. And thank you so much to the moderators in the chat rooms today for moderating the chats. Don Loki says, sounds like something we should do here in America. Well, I mean, look, if people are really involved in corruption, then I think, arresting them can be warranted. What I can't tell, though, is this really an anti-corruption thing, or is this some kind of political power kind of play going on there in Saudi Arabia? Vincent Parsis says, hey, Steve, don't forget there are more than 14,000 princes in Saudi Arabia. So I can't confirm how many princes there are in Saudi Arabia, but what I can say is that the ones, I'll look that up, but the ones who are arrested include some very prominent ones. As we've been seeing. I see one article that says 15,000 members of the royal family. I think Wikipedia says thousands of members of the royal family. I don't know if they're all princes. I'd have to look this all up. A teachable woman made a donation, gave $10 and said, thanks for being here. Love you all. Thank you, a teachable woman. I missed a donation before. I just remembered. Somebody gave $17.76. Can I find it? Yes, Trump Sword gave $17.76 and says, could this guy have been waging jihad by poisoning the West through his enterprises? Who are you talking to? Are you talking about Waleed bin Talal? I've heard no evidence of that, Trump Sword, if that's who you're talking about. But thank you for the donations, guys. Really appreciate it. Hank Hill says, hey, Steve, wonder if this has anything to do with the missile that flew into Iran today. As I said, I doubt it, because these arrests started getting reported several hours ago, and that missile only flew in. You mean the missile that flew into Saudi Arabia today? There was a missile that was launched from Yemen towards Saudi Arabia, and the Saudi Arabia military shot it down. But that happened, I'd say around 6 hours ago, and these arrests started getting reported 3 hours ago. I have a hard time believing that in that short of time, this huge arrest movement was put together. I can't. This looks like it took a fair degree of planning, to me at least. Oh, Joe Doe Lib gave me an update. Thank you, Joe Doe Lib. That it says, I hadn't seen this 2 hours ago. The news executive said Saudi-led coalition warplanes have hit the Yemen Defense Ministry headquarters in Sana'a. So I guess as retaliation for the missile being fired. I hadn't seen that before. Madeline Shockley gave $5 and said, swamp draining live. Fabulous. Thanks, Stephen RSBN. Thank you, Madeline, for the donation. We really appreciate it. Okay, let me see if I can find you some more information about what's going on there in Saudi Arabia. Let's see here. So I'm seeing a lot of the similar reports about mass arrests, but I'm trying to look for some more new news here. So hard to get new information about this. And I've seen some people saying that Jared Kushner might be in Saudi Arabia now. Let me look up, or was there recently? Well, so he traveled unannounced to Saudi Arabia 5 days ago. He traveled there last week to continue discussions on Middle East peace, according to CNN. No idea if this kind of thing came up when in his discussions there. I'm sorry, let me show you this. So that was reported a couple days ago, well, about 5 days ago. So that might have been 2 weeks ago, or a week and a half ago or something. And also to repeat, it wasn't just that. So we had several current government ministers. I believe head of the Royal Navy, head of the National Guard, economy minister, finance minister, or minister of economy. They were all removed. 10 prominent princes arrested. Around 30 or so ex-ministers arrested, and including very prominent people who had been like, the former finance minister was arrested, and the three heads of the biggest Saudi-owned TV networks there in Saudi Arabia were also arrested. We got a nice shout out from somebody named Skinny Jihadi, although it sort of mischaracterizes our video. So Baked Alaska said apparently there's a coup going on in Saudi Arabia. No one is reporting on it. And Skinny Jihadi says, actually, Look, our RSP Network is doing a live on YouTube on it right now. Now, we're not reporting on a coup. I don't believe this is a coup because this is the king and the king's son doing this. So that wouldn't really be a coup. A coup would be somebody taking over from the current leader. So now perhaps it's the king's son and the king kind of shoring up the king's position. Or, I wonder, let me say this. This is the kind of thing you would see if there were rumors of a possible coup. Suppose the king and the king's son thought, we think a bunch of ministers in this government are not loyal to us. As I mentioned, MBS was only installed as the crown prince, I think, like last year. I'll look this up, but there could have been parties that resented him being installed as the crown prince and him gaining this MBS, this son of the king, gaining all this new power and really running a lot of things in Saudi Arabia over recent months. So maybe it's possible, I guess, that MBS and his father, the king, thought there are these entrenched interests who don't like that MBS is now the heir and getting so much power. And maybe they heard that there might be some threat to the royal, to the leadership. I don't know. But certainly, if the leadership did feel threatened, arresting a lot of powerful people who they might think are against them is something you could expect to see. Now, I'm not saying this is what happened. I'm just saying it seems like a possibility. But that would be more of a counter-coup than a coup. So this is MBS. He is the crown prince. He is the son of the king, first deputy prime minister, youngest minister of defense in the world. See, in June, actually, let's see. He was appointed crown prince. Oh, it was June 2017. So in June 2017, just 5 months ago, was when he was appointed the heir to the throne and given this new power that he has. So it's pretty recent, actually. We just got a lovely donation, $50 from Virtual Frog. Thank you, Virtual Frog. That's very generous of you. Says Guinevere rules the chat. Thank you so much for the donation. Your donations do keep us on the air. So if you like that we're actually on the air covering this, I'm guessing you really won't see much coverage of this on the mainstream media networks today. If you like that we're covering this, please consider supporting us with a donation, because we're viewer supported. You can donate by going to the bottom of the YouTube chat and clicking on the $ there, or you can go to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And also follow us on YouTube so you can, and click the notifications bell so you hear about all our videos when we come on the air, like this one, our breaking news videos. And thanks again to the moderators for moderating the chat rooms today. And if you like our videos, we hope you we hope another thing you can do to help us out is to share them on Facebook and like them on YouTube. That really helps spread the word to other people that we're covering this stuff. So if you like our video, feel free to share it on Facebook and like it on YouTube. I am just going to see if I can find any other stuff about this. I'm seeing some of the same articles here. Now, it's certainly possible this really is an anti-corruption thing. It's certainly possible maybe they have a huge corruption problem there, and the king and his son, the crown prince, want to do something about it and send a big message. But on the other hand, perhaps it's a power play, publicized as an anti-corruption thing. Rudao English also says that those arrested include 2 sons of the former King Abdullah. 2 sons of the former King Abdullah were arrested today, among those arrested. Trump Card writes in, what's the odds of Trump's last tweet? And I think what you're saying, Trump Card, is could there be any connection to what happened today and President Trump's tweet about Saudi Arabia 10 hours ago? I don't know. It's like, so Donald Trump says, would very much appreciate Saudi Arabia doing their IPO of Aramco with the New York Stock Exchange, important to the United States. Now, I have to read more about this tweet, but the Saudi Arabia has been planning on taking their company public. It has been privately owned, but they're going to take it public and maybe list it on a stock exchange. There are different stock exchanges. They've been thinking about listing it in Europe or listing it in America. But one issue I've heard in my reading on this has said that there are certain things you have to do as a company to be listed on the stock exchange, on the New York Stock Exchange. So, there's a certain amount of transparency you need to have. And from my reading on this that I vaguely remember, Saudi Arabia was not willing to do these things. So I don't think it. Just to be clear, it's not just that Saudi Arabia can pick whatever exchange it wants and just say, we want to list our company on this exchange or this exchange. If they're going to list their company, the oil company of Saudi Arabia, on the New York Stock Exchange, they have to agree to certain things, which from my reading, they hadn't agreed to do. So maybe President Trump is trying to push them toward that. I would need to read more about this particular tweet, but just a little bit of background there. It's an interesting tweet. And this kind of caught me out of the blue. I wasn't aware that this was something President Trump was pushing for. Wonder if I can find something about that. But do I think it's related? I mean, on the face of it, it doesn't seem to be related. So here's an article from The Independent on that tweet that Trump sent out. Donald Trump pleads with Saudi Arabia to sell shares in its Aramco national company in the New York Stock Exchange. Just see if there's anything new in here. America's bid for the listing is likely helped by Mr. Trump's friendly relationship with Saudi Arabian leaders. Again, what's not talked about in this article is the stuff I've read in other places, which is it's not just that he's sitting there and can choose whatever exchange, that MBS, the Crown Prince, can't just choose whatever exchange he wants to list it on. I had read, The Economist wrote a bunch about this, saying that that to be listed on certain exchanges like the NYSE requires you to do certain things as a company, and Saudi Arabia hadn't yet shown that they were willing to do that stuff. So anyways, there's more to this story. But let's see if we can find anything more about these arrests, the mass arrests in Saudi Arabia of ex-ministers and princes, and the replacing of some government ministers there. So I was sent a tweet. Sam Miller sent me a tweet about Maria Bartiromo interviewing the prince. Now that was on October 29th, so it was 5 days ago. And he talks there about moderate Islam. He wants to go back to moderate Islam that is open to the world, and he's been making some social changes there. But I don't see that as necessarily related to this, because that seems like that stuff, he has been making those social changes over the last couple of months. So I don't see in that like a sign of that this was going to happen today. See this article from the Daily Sabah, if it says anything more. Al-Waleed bin Talal, 2 other billionaire tycoons among Saudi arrests. Saudi tycoon Prince Al-Waleed bin Talal and 2 other heads of 3 Saudi-owned prominent television networks were among the high-profile figures who were arrested on early Sunday. Yeah, we've read a bunch of this stuff already. I'm just seeing if there's anything new here. So here's something it says. It says, look at that. Already viewed as the de facto ruler controlling all the major levers of government, from defense to the economy, Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin MBS, Crown Prince Mohammed, is widely seen to be stamping out traces of internal dissent before a formal transfer of power from his 81-year-old father, King Salman. That's really important. You know, we saw that tweet from News Executive before, where News Executive was wondering, could these arrests be a prelude to naming, to a change of the king, to change of the crown from the current king to the son? So this is why he said here, News Executive said, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a he, it might be a she or a them, but I'll say he for now. I wouldn't be surprised if King Salman will abdicate and appoint Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, known as MBS, as his successor. As we see here in the Daily Sabah, it says, the Crown Prince MBS already is the de facto ruler, controlling all the major levers of government, and they say, Daily Sabah, he's widely seen as stamping out traces of internal dissent before a formal transfer of power from his 81-year-old father, King Salman. So could these arrests be a prelude to MBS, the Crown Prince, being named king in the coming hours, days? We don't know. But it's something that they could have done if they thought that there was going to be resistance among certain officials to MBS being named king, and they wanted to, and the king wanted to name his son the king very soon. Perhaps this is a strategy they came up with. See if I can find anything else here on this story that's new. And again, I see some people on the internet saying this could be a coup. It wouldn't be a coup because the current leader is the king, and the crown prince and the king are the ones running these arrests, and the crown prince is the heir to the throne. So a coup would be when you overthrow the current ruler. That is not what is happening here, whatever is happening. So I'm not really seeing anything new about this here. We'll keep. Patriot of Truth says there's no election in Arabia. No, they don't. They're a monarchy. They don't choose. They don't vote for their rulers, for their national rulers. I think in recent years, I'm trying to remember. Like, is there any? There might be local councils or something, but I believe the federal government is all appointed. It's a monarchy. It's a royal family, and what the king says goes. That's the general idea of the government there. So there's no presidential election or anything. The king appoints a successor, and the successor is the one who the king chooses. And now I've done some reading on this recently, which says that there's certain powerful groups in Saudi Arabia, and the king has ultimate power, but the king doesn't just run around doing whatever the king wants. I have read that there's certain powerful people the king has to consult with when he makes his decisions, and he rules by kind of a consensus thing. But you don't elect the president there. There's the king, and the king is the king is the king, and the king gets to choose who the successor is. Now I'm guessing if the king appointed some successor who everybody else hated and thought was crazy, then there would be some royal family action against the king or something like that. But there's no kind of voting system for the national leader there. And as I said before, one thing I'm seeing some people say online, and I said before, was, perhaps somebody could explain all the arrests by saying maybe there were people in the government who were opposed to the king giving his son MBS all of this new power and naming his son successor. His son was only named successor in June of 2017, just 5 months ago. Maybe some people have been upset with that. Maybe they were going to move. Maybe the king and MBS thought there was going to be this coup attempt against them, and that's why these arrests happens. I don't know. Now this is very unsubstantiated, but these are I'm seeing different rumors on the internet. So here's a rumor. Here's a rumor I saw, but again, I have no substantiation of this whatsoever. For all I know, it is totally false. But somebody named Gregor Peters says, chatter is Kushner delivered eyes-only top-secret CIA intel to Riyadh last week to tip off MBS on possible coup attempt. And that's why these arrests happened. Who knows? I have no evidence that this is actually true, but if you want rumors about Saudi Arabia, go look up Saudi Arabia on Twitter right now, and you will find lots of rumors. Vincent Parsons says, hi Steve, just in case you didn't know, I'm in Saudi Arabia. Very nice. If you hear any inside information, let us know, Vincent. So I think we're only going to be on for a couple more minutes with this stream. So if you have any comments, write to me on Twitter at Lookner, at Lookner. We'll come on the air whenever there's big breaking news. So if you like our coverage, subscribe to us on YouTube and click the notifications bell so you get notified when we come on the air. Also, really appreciate your donations. Your donations are what allows us to do this coverage, allows us to do this broadcast right now. We are viewer supported. So if you like our coverage, if you like that we're devoting a broadcast to this, please consider donating. You can donate by going to the YouTube chat and just clicking on the $ at the bottom of the YouTube chat, or going to rsbn.tv/donate, rsbn.tv/donate. And let me, I need to plug something in here. Hold on a second, guys. I use a particular speaker here, and I need to plug it in because I don't want it to run out of electricity, battery power, because then it won't work. And I won't be able to hear anything. Thanks again to the moderators who've been moderating this chat. In YouTube, we have Guinevere and Lynn Jean and JC and Barbara. And also for those of you who are interested, we are going to have the President and Melania and the First Lady Melania Trump are going to be doing some sort of presentation tonight at 10 p.m. Eastern. They will participate in a troop event at Yokota Air Base in Japan, I believe. Yokota Air Base is a United States Air Force base in Tokyo, Western Tokyo. So we will have that live at 10 p.m. Eastern for you. And also, if you want to keep up with Right Side Broadcasting, you can follow us at RSB Network on Twitter. I am at Lookner on Twitter. I'll be posting, even when we're not on the air, about breaking news stuff. So you can follow me on Twitter if you like breaking news. But I think at this point, we're going to wrap up this broadcast because we're not hearing much new right at the moment. I'm sure more stuff will happen there and we'll hear more stuff. But for now, that's the story right now. Thanks for joining us for this live stream. I know we had promised before we do a live stream on the missile that happened in Saudi Arabia, the missile that was shot down. But this Saudi Arabia news happened, and we just did a stream also. We did another stream on the Rand Paul getting assaulted news, which just came up. So maybe later tonight, maybe we'll do one on the missile, Saudi Arabia missile. I'm not sure if we'll do one or not, but we had planned on doing it, but just these other two streams ended up happening because of the new breaking news. So our apologies for that. But anyways, I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. We hope you guys have a good evening. And again, at 10 Eastern, we will have the President and the First Lady participating in that troop event. I believe the President's going to speak, that's what I had heard, at this troop event in Western Tokyo. So tune in to us for that if you want to watch that. But for now, I am Steve Lookner. Thank you, everybody, for watching. Thank you to the moderators, to the donors, to everybody who wrote in with your comments. We really appreciate it. Hope you all have a good evening and have a good weekend. And thank you, people saying thank you in the chat room, classified information. Barbara, whoever else is there. Hugh Daly, thank you so much. P-Cell and everybody else saying thank you there. Oh, and the Turban Man, this is Waleed bin Talal, if I'm getting that right. Let me just get the name right for you. This, again, is a very wealthy man. He is part of the royal family, but he also is a huge stockholder in Citigroup and in Twitter and in News Corp. And he was one of the people arrested tonight. He was charged with money laundering, I had seen reported, supposedly. But anyways, that's going to wrap it up from here for this stream. We'll keep an eye on what's going on in Saudi Arabia. If there's big news, we'll come back on the air. But for now, I am Steve Lookner. This is Right Side Broadcasting. Thank you all for joining us. Have a great night, and we will see you soon at Right Side Broadcasting.